Hey friends, Amy Jackson here, director of the Perch, and I am excited to have you join me for this mini mindful movement workshop. Mindful movement workshops are workshops that I offer in person at the Perch in Aurora, Illinois, and they are normally 90 minutes long. We use yoga and meditation, prayer, self-reflection, journaling, all sorts of different things to really dive deep into one theme. And I love offering these at least one time a month, and each month the theme changes. And so today, in honor of my 4-year anniversary of having the Perch, I wanted to really share with you a mini workshop so you can get a taste of these. And really, it's a great amount of time that you can use anytime, anywhere. You can do this in your home. You can do this, whenever you have a spare minute. So everything we're going to be doing today, any props and stuff I'm using, they're things that you have accessible to you. I'm going to show you how to do that. And today, our theme is on love, loving ourselves, having self-compassion, and being open to love. Now, before I begin, I do want to say the Perch is all about helping exhausted people connect to God so that we can rest, we can find peace, and we can experience transformation. And I am a 200-hour registered yoga teacher, and I'm super excited to be able to offer today to you some yoga, meditation, some journaling prompts, all around this theme of loving ourselves and allowing ourselves to be loved and accepting the fact that we are loved. I truly believe that if there's one message I could share over and over and over again, it is this: that when we understand how deeply loved we are, it changes everything. And it allows us to live our lives the way that we were meant to live. And it allows us to be a little more comfortable in our skin and to share that love openly and generously with everyone around us. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're joining me for this practice. Things you're gonna need. I'm in yoga gear. You do not need to be in specific yoga gear. You can just have comfortable clothing on that allows you to move. I've got a yoga mat for some extra stability. If you don't have a yoga mat, no problem at all. You are going to probably want to have a towel or a small blanket. We're going to be on our knees in a little bit. I've also got yoga blocks if you've got them. Otherwise, I recommend having 2 bottles of water, which I have literally disposable water bottles that you could have, or reusable water bottles. Really doesn't matter, but if you want to pause the video and grab those items, then you can have them available to you in just a moment. I'm starting on the chair, and we're going to start right here in a seated position for our practice today. So you can sit on a chair like I am, or if you feel more comfortable sitting on the floor, you're welcome to do that. If you do sit on the floor cross-legged, I want to recommend that you put something underneath your hips so that your hips are actually higher than your knees. So what I mean by that is, sometimes when we sit on the ground, we've got our knees way up here, and that can be really hard on our circulation and just really uncomfortable. And so what you can do is slide under you, either a pillow, or this is actually a yoga bolster. We've got these at the Perch, but it can also just be, a nice padded cushion, whatever you've got around your home, or a stack of towels. I do apologize for some of the background noise. But whatever you've got, just to lift those hips up higher than your knees, it has just better circulation. So join me in a seated, comfortable position. Again, it could be back in that chair, it could be on your couch, it could be in a seat. I do want, if you are sitting in a chair or something, if you can have your legs or feet on the floor, that might be helpful to you. But just find that comfortable seat. And what I'm going to invite you to do is just bring some awareness to your breath. Bring awareness to your breath. So if you feel comfortable here, you can close your eyes. If not, that's perfectly okay. You can soften your gaze, and all that means is to find something in front of you that's not moving and then allow your focus to kind of lose focus on that so that you can turn your focus inward and begin to notice your breath. And your assignment in these couple of moments as we begin is to notice your breath without any judgment, without any shoulds or shouldn'ts or I wish. Just notice. Just notice it for what it is. So as you pay attention to your breath, notice where you feel it most in your body. You might feel it in your chest or in your belly. You might feel it at the tip of your nose. You might feel it across your collarbones. Just noticing where you feel your breath. Noticing what your breath is like. Maybe it's slow or fast. Maybe it's deep or shallow. And then when you're ready, we're going to take 3 deep breaths together. We're going to inhale through the nose and exhale through our mouths. Deep breath in. And let it out. Deep breath in. And let it out. And one more deep breath in. And let it out. And we're going to just spend a moment in silence, finding some gratitude for our breath, this breath that nourishes our bodies all throughout the day. Beautiful. When you're ready, you can flutter those eyes open. We're going to do just some really simple warm-up things and move into this gentle yoga practice. So we're going to begin with a simple twist. So place your left hand behind you, your right hand across on that left thigh, and then reaching up, straight spine. See if you can twist from your belly to the left. This doesn't have to be a deep stretch. This can be just a little movement. If you want to go a little deeper on your next exhale, you can see if you can twist a little bit deeper. Again, moving from the belly, keeping that spine tall and straight. Deep breath here, and just reminding you to be gentle with yourself. There's no need to twist super deep here. We're just warming ourselves up, feeling into this. One more deep breath. And then come back to center. We're going to do the other side. So placing that right hand behind you, left hand comes across, lifting through the spine, twisting from the belly to the right. On your next exhale, you can see if you can twist a little deeper. But then again, reminding you just to be gentle here. Take a couple deep breaths. Check in with yourself. How do you feel right now? Maybe there are 2 words that come to mind about how you feel. And then one more deep breath here. And exhale, we'll come back to center. Beautiful. We're going to do CatCow now, and this is really a simple, gentle warm-up to begin warming up our spine. I'm going to show you how to do this on the mat first, but if being on your knees and hands isn't helpful to you, I'm going to show you a variation in just a second so you can do this too. But we'll begin here. CatCow. We are on our hands and our knees. My knees are underneath my hips. My hands are underneath my shoulders. And for CatCow, we really want to stretch and warm up our spine a little bit further. So we're going to begin by dropping our head, dropping our tailbone down, lifting that spine into a curve. And this is our cat. Take a deep breath here, and on your exhale, we'll lift our tailbone, lift our heads, lift that chest, and let our stomachs go down. Now we've got this curve going the other way. Deep breath here. And then let's move back into cat. So dropping that tailbone, dropping your head, pressing up through the spine. And then dropping down that belly, lifting the chest, lifting the tailbone up into cow. Great. Now I'm going to let you explore this. You can keep doing that a few times. You might be a little more exaggerated. Maybe you want to wag your tail a little, feel into how your sides are feeling. If your wrists are sore, you might turn your hands and kind of move around in circles. But really feeling into your body, feeling how you feel in this moment. What's sticking, what's catching. And I want to encourage you to simply notice what you notice. So what I mean by that is there's no judgment. here. There's no, oh, I wish I didn't, or man, my hip is tight again. But just setting aside those negative voices or those judgmental voices and just saying, here I am in my body. What do I notice? See what you notice. Just spend a few moments exploring there. Now, if being on your hands and knees is not helpful to you, I want to show you you can also do this in the chair. And this is also great for doing at the office or when you're working, if you don't want to do a full routine. So what you would do is have your feet firmly planted about hip width apart. My hands go to right above my knees here. And what we'll do first is move into cow. So we'll press our bellies forward, our chest forward, letting your neck go back, your head go back, and pulling those shoulder blades down. This is our cow. And then to move into cat, we're gonna press our shoulder blades forward, let our heads come forward, let our chins drop into our chest, and see if you can roll that spine a little bit the other way, letting those shoulders really drop forward. And then we can go back again. See how that feels in your body. All right, we've done cat-cow. I think we're ready to move on to our half sun salutations. Half sun salutations are just a wonderful way to continue warming up our body from head to toe. They really ensure that our spines are fluid and moving and it's flexible, and it attaches our breath and our inhale and our exhale into our stretching. So it's a really gentle way to warm up. You might find sun salutations at the beginning of a normal yoga class. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stand up tall, and we're going to begin by finding our starting pose, which is mountain pose. Mountain pose is really this beautiful, stable pose that is really the foundation of everything. And mountain pose begins, I like to teach it with your feet about hip width apart. Now, some practitioners love to do mountain pose with our feet all together. So if that's how you normally do mountain pose, by all means, do that. I like to do it about hip width apart though. And from here, we really want to find some stability and strength and anchoring in our mountain pose. So, feeling into your feet, pressing them down into the floor. I want to draw your attention to there's 3 points of your feet that you can really press down. There's the big toe ball mount. There is the pinky toe ball mount. And then there's your heel. So you've got this triangular arch of your foot, dome really of your foot, and you want to press down evenly through those 3 points into the floor. See if you can feel into that, see if that feels more stable. From there, we want to stand up tall, really reaching through the crown of our head. We can roll our shoulders back down our back. I like to remind my shoulders they are not carrying the world. And then to really activate our legs and turn this whole pose on, I like to imagine lifting my kneecaps with those muscles. And as you do that, you'll begin to feel your entire legs, all the muscles in your legs really activating and really turning on. So this really strong, steady, anchored pose. I often, when I'm standing in this pose, imagine, there's a verse in Ephesians 3 that talks about our roots going down deep into God's love. And so I often will imagine as I stand here strong and tall that my roots are going down deep into God's love and soaking up that love for me. Something that may be helpful for you today in our practice. So beginning here in mountain pose, let's just take one deep breath in and let it out. We're going to move into half sun salutation. We're going to take the first one really slow, talk through it, and then we'll do 2 more at a little faster pace, okay? So inhale your arms all the way up. I know you can't see me at the top of the screen here. All the way up, and then we'll exhale and let them float down, folding forward. Now my hands reach the floor, but that's completely okay if yours don't. So if yours don't, you might want to bring them to a block, to a water bottle, to a chair, whatever feels comfortable to you, but just allowing yourself to fold forward as much as feels comfortable, even seeing if you can release your neck a little bit. All right, inhale, we're gonna come up to what's called a halfway lift. So I like to bring my hands to my shins, reaching through the crown of my head, that straight, long back. Exhale all the way back down again. And then on your inhale, we're going to slowly roll up vertebra by vertebra. As you get to fully standing, you can lift those arms all the way overhead. You can imagine this is a very deep inhale. Exhale, we can bring our hands down to heart center. All right, let's do that 2 more times. We'll do it a little bit faster pace here, half sun salutation. So inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to halfway lift here, so reaching through the crown of your head. Exhale, fold forward. And then inhale, you can roll up your spine again, or you can bend those knees and lift all the way up, hands overhead. And then exhale, bring those hands down to heart center. 1 more time, friends. Inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift all the way up. Lift those arms up overhead. Turn your gaze upward. Take a deep breath, really collecting that love for you. Drawing that love to yourself, knowing that you are fully loved, just as you are. And then exhale, we'll bring our hands to heart center. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Our next pose we're going to do is called tree pose. And there's several different variations that you can take for tree pose. And so I want to walk us through these variations. My number one rule when it comes to yoga at the Perch is to do what feels good in your body. And so that may mean as we're doing something, you go, I don't really like that one. So you want to try something different, a different variation, like I showed you a different variation with the CatCow. But it also means empowering you to do what feels best for your body and to make those decisions for yourself. Because only you know what's going to feel best in your body. So what we're going to do is talk through some variations for tree pose, and then I want you to be able to choose what is best for you, okay? And we'll do both feet, and you can choose which different variations for each one, okay? So we begin in mountain pose. We shift our weight to one side. Don't do it yet. I'm going to show you the variations. And then we lift our other leg to the side to whatever height feels good to us, whatever variation feels good to us. So the first one here is what we call kickstand. So the toes remain on the floor, the heel comes up to the other leg's ankle. And then arm variations we can have down at our sides like we did in mountain. They can be up like branches, T, cactus, it can be a prayer, whatever feels good to you in your body. The second variation is to lift that foot up to your calf right below your knee. We don't want to go on our knee. And then again, we have our same arm variations open to us here. And then the third variation is to lift it up to our inner thigh above our knee. You can really press with that heel into your inner thigh. And again, we have our same arm variations available to us here. Oops, I'm running into the chair. This is a great time to note that you are welcome to have a chair or a wall nearby, because as you wobble, you may feel like you want just something to kind of catch your balance a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that, all right? So find what's gonna work for you, what feels best in your body for our practice today. And again, we'll do both sides. You can choose what feels right for you. Maybe one side you want to do something different than the other one. That is totally normal and natural for one side to feel more balanced than the other. That's definitely true of me and in any yoga person I've talked to. So we're gonna choose our variation. We're gonna shift our weight to our right first, lifting our left, and you can choose whatever feels right to you. So shifting your weight now to that right, lift your left to whatever height and variation feels good to you. Choose that arm variation you like. Maybe it's here at heart center, maybe it's up like branches. Choose what feels really good to you in this moment. And you can come in and out as you need. You can touch that wall or that chair as you need. But something I want to offer to you as we stand here in this tree pose is that we often think about the trees that are most like long-standing, the ones that are around for a long time. We think that it's because they are really, rigid and strong and they stick to their convictions, right? Like they are like, I am here and I am taking up space. And in reality, the trees that can stay the longest are those that can bend and move with the storms. Because a tree that is super rigid would just be snapped by even a small storm. So I just want to offer that to you today. If you feel wobbly, if you feel like you're kind of moving and swaying and bending and things are changing, that actually shows that you have a better chance for longevity. The rigidity is what can get us into trouble. Just something to think about as we stand in tree pose. One more moment here and then we'll drop that leg. Very nice, and shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. And we're gonna move to the other side. So again, you can choose the same variation you just did or a different one, whatever feels right to you in this moment. I wanna empower you to choose what feels good for you. What's gonna help you feel most nourished and loved, okay? So starting in mountain pose, shifting that weight to the left, lifting our right up to whatever variation feels good to you. You can have same arm position or a different one. I think I wanna have them down this time. Standing tall, maybe imagining those roots going down deep into God's love. Maybe just feeling into your power here and how strong you feel. Maybe you feel into that strength of just knowing that even as you keep wobbling, even as you keep coming back at it, that you keep trying, whatever it might be. I love how our yoga poses can teach us so much about ourselves and about our hearts and our minds and our souls. It's really beautiful. One more moment here. And then we can drop that leg and shake it out. Beautiful. Awesome. All right, we're gonna do one more stretch and then we're gonna move into our relaxation portion of our time together. So for this one, we're gonna do a low lunge and really stretch two areas that are problem areas for most of us. And so in the effort of showing ourselves some love, I think it's good if we stretch these areas that tend to be very tight, right? So we're gonna do low lunge here. And you are probably gonna wanna have a blanket or a towel underneath your knees for some extra padding here. Get set up here. So we're gonna start right here in the middle of our mats. You can even put your hands on your hips if that feels good, with your knees under you, feet are flat on the mat. And then we're gonna wanna have something for our hands here. So I like to use these yoga blocks I have. But if you don't have yoga blocks, that's totally understandable. You can actually use water bottles or again, reusable water bottles, whatever you have. And I'll show you what we're gonna do with those in just a second, okay? All right, so standing tall here on our knees, we're going to bring our right foot forward and then drop into a low lunge here. So here's where we want to have our hands. We can bring them right to our blocks and support us in this pose. Again, if you don't have blocks, you can bring them to these water bottles, and we don't have all of our weight on them, but they just kind of extra stability for us. So we're dropping into this, and you can feel the stretch in the front part of your left leg. This is part of our psoas muscle. We're feeling it here. And the psoas can get incredibly tight. And the psoas is really important for walking, for stepping, for moving. And as we move into our days, whatever is in front of us, we need to make sure that our psoas is ready to move with us and ready to carry us. So really good to stretch our psoas. Now, gently lift back up, kind of getting out of that stretch. And then we're going to straighten our right leg and sit back into a hamstring stretch. Now, my hands go to the mat here, but you are also welcome to come up to those water bottles or again, your yoga blocks. Allow yourself to stretch into this. You can even flex your right foot and get that hamstring stretch. Our hamstrings can be so tight from sitting, and so this is so good to pamper ourselves and get this nice hamstring stretch. Let's do this one more time through. So reaching forward, stretching forward, dropping our hips down, getting that nice stretch in the front of our left hip. Take a breath here. You can pull your shoulder blades down. Mine like to come up high while I'm doing this. And then we'll slowly shift back. You want to be gentle with those muscles as we're stretching into this hamstring stretch. Flex that foot. Stretching our hamstring and our psoas is so good too for our low back. A lot of people feel pain in their low back because of these tight muscles. So, all right, now standing, coming straight up. Let's bring our right knee back, and we can step our left foot forward. We're gonna same thing on this side. So you can reach your hand forward to those blocks or to your water bottle. Drop those hips forward. You're gonna feel that stretch in the front of your right hip this time, so your right psoas. You may notice one is tighter than the other. Just notice that, without any judgment. There's nothing wrong with that, but just noticing. I always have one that is significantly tighter, and it is always my left. I've often shared at the Perch too before that, let's push back to our hamstring stretch, but I've shared before that when I'm stressed, my left hip tends to be very, very tight. And so this is a nice little stretch, really gentle for us. Again, you can flex that foot to get a nice hamstring stretch. You can have your hands up on your blocks or your water bottle. One more time through, shifting forward, slowly coming through, drop those hips. Get that stretch in the front of your right hip. Draw those shoulder blades down. I wasn't kidding, mine like to go up high. Take a breath here. So good that you are caring for yourself. This is such a practical way to care for yourself, to show that love for yourself. Let's push back into that hamstring stretch. You know, this is such a simple stretch, but often we don't take the time to just do these simple things that we know will help us feel better. So congrats to you for doing that today, for doing that right now. That's a big deal. All right, one more breath here in this hamstring stretch, and then we'll bring our knees together. All right, beautiful, beautiful. We're gonna move into just a relaxation pose, and this is so important for us because we often don't wanna take the time to just allow ourselves to rest. And you deserve a couple minutes of rest, friend. So we're gonna do something really simple, and it's called legs up the wall pose. It's one of my very favorites. Because it's just so simple and so accessible. If you don't have a wall, I'll show you a variation in just a second here, but let me move some things aside so you can actually see me. Really simply put, our legs up the wall is putting our legs up the wall and lying down on the ground. So I'm gonna just roll. The hardest part of this pose is getting into it. So I'm gonna roll facing away, roll into it, put my feet up the wall. I've got my decorations here. Looks like they're falling down on me. But you can just put your feet up the wall here. Let that guy go. And this is legs of the wall. You can have your hands out to the side and just rest and relax. You don't have to do anything active with your legs. Just allow them to rest. And it's such a good pose to help us rest and relax. It helps with circulation. If you have fluid in the legs or feet, it's wonderful to help drain that fluid. So it's a really great pose. So go ahead and get into that pose. If you don't have a wall, I do want to show you another variation really quickly that may be more accessible to you. And that is simply using a chair. So we'll do the exact same pose, but using a chair. Rolling to the side, putting my legs up here. If you feel too far away from it, you can actually put a towel under your back if that's helpful. Or if your legs are long, you can put a towel on on the seat of the chair too. But find that legs up the wall position and go ahead and come into that position and just rest for a moment. And we're gonna give us just a couple of moments to rest, to breathe, and to do nothing. You have permission to do nothing, okay? All right, so coming into that position, I'm gonna invite you to take a deep breath and let it out. Beautiful. And then just be. Just relax. See if you can allow your muscles to let go a little bit. See if you can allow your back to melt into your mat. See if you can allow your eyes to close and to soften and to sink down into your skull. see if you can release your cheeks and your jaw and allow them to rest. I'm going to give you just a minute of silence to rest in this pose. Friends, when you're ready, you can bend your knees, placing your feet on the wall, and then slowly roll to your side and rest there for a minute before pressing up to seated. I know you could probably stay in that position for a lot longer. So when you come to a mindful movement workshop, we'll be sure to allow you to really rest in those restorative poses for a little bit longer, but please feel permission to do it a little bit longer after our video is over. All right, join me in a seated position whenever you're ready. And we're gonna move into a time of breath prayer. Breath prayer is really simply put a simple way of praying, a sentence-long prayer, and attaching it to our inhale and our exhale. And it's a really beautiful way to connect mind, body, and soul, and to actually have this physiological connection and this physiological effect where we actually feel calmer because we are breathing as we're connecting to God and to ourselves. So breath prayer, I love to teach it as coming up with a sentence-long prayer where the beginning of the sentence is a word or a name or an image of God, whatever feels meaningful to you, like literally whatever feels meaningful to you. And then the second half of that breath prayer is your need or your desire or your truth. And so it might be something like, God, bring me peace. It might be, God of light, show me my next step. Whatever it might be. But today I want to offer you a breath prayer specifically around this idea of self-love and self-compassion. And it goes like this. We'll breathe in as we pray, I am loved. And then we'll breathe out as we say, fully, wholly, and unconditionally. So let's do that together. And I do want to give you permission, if this isn't your jam, to just simply do an affirmation, to do a different kind of prayer, but to spend this time really focused on reminding yourself that you are loved fully, wholly, and unconditionally, okay? So let's try this out. Find that comfortable seat. You might even roll your shoulders a few times. And as you breathe in, pray, I am loved. And then breathing out, fully, wholly, and unconditionally. Let's do that again. Breathing in, I am loved. And breathing out, fully, wholly, and unconditionally. Breathing in, I am loved. And breathing out, fully, wholly, and unconditionally. I'm going to give you a moment to continue breathing on your own. You can continue at your own pace for a few more breaths. Friends, as we close this practice together, I want to remind you of something that I say often around here at the Perch, and that is this. There is nothing you could do or not do to make God love you any more or any less. You are loved fully and wholly and unconditionally. Your value and your worth are beyond belief, and there is nothing you can do to impact them. Friends, it is so good to remind ourselves that we are loved, that we are worthy of love, that we have infinite worth and value, and it's not based on our productivity. It is not based on what you do today or what you get accomplished. You are simply loved and held and valuable because you are. And that's a beautiful promise to remind ourselves of today. So, I have one last thing to give you before our ending, but I want to remind you that if you've enjoyed this, I would absolutely love to see you for one of our full-length 90-minute mindful movement workshops at the Perch, where we dive deep into a single topic using yoga and meditation, prayer, self-reflection, and more. So in that vein, I've got 2 self-reflection questions for you to close out our time that you can do on your own, and they're related to this theme that we've been doing today. The first question is this: what is it like for you to accept the fact that you are loved fully, wholly, and unconditionally? What is it like for you to accept that you are loved fully and wholly and unconditionally? What bubbles up in you? What feelings come up? What do you notice? And my second journaling prompt for you is this: what is one practical thing I can do today to show myself that I love myself? So what is one practical thing that you can do today to show yourself that you love yourself? Something simple, something practical, something doable that you can do today. Friends, it is absolutely true that you are loved fully, wholly, and unconditionally. And I hope that as we end this practice, you feel that you have been this love has just been poured on you. This imagery of being poured on you is what comes to mind. And so I hope that as we finish our time together, that you feel that deep love. So will you do one thing with me? Will you bring your hands to your heart? Will you take a deep breath in? And will you say to yourself, I am loved. I am loved. Friends, I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice. I hope it's been